Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom talk about our comic book collection, 2 issues at a time. We're doing a double DC issue today, double DC episode, 2 issues of DC Comics because we already did 2 Marvel. So, your double dose of DC starts with the House of Mystery presents I, Vampire.
When I was a kid and these came up, to me, it just felt so provocative. It's
spooky. I love the colors on the cover.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we did a horror-themed spooky comic.
And they always romanticize vampires. They're always good-looking and stuff. You never see that, well, I guess not with Edward. They do that with, no, because he's a vampire, yeah. With werewolves, you don't see him giving them that treatment.
Not really. They're more mangy.
Carnal.
We got a couple black cats, bats, rats, and snakes. That's a busy cemetery.
A couple little
headstones.
That's nice. Nice cover.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover. So, let's see. This is from way back in 1983. And we start, of course, with Cain of Cain and Abel fame, who's in the Sandman TV show as well.
Who's your favorite, Cain or Abel?
Cain.
Really? You like this guy over the other guy?
He murders Abel, right?
Yeah.
Well, you like the victim? You said this is a Walkman?
Is that
for
a Walkman?
$20.
No.
Plus the
Pan
wrappers
Ocean?
or boxes from 5 Milk Duds, Clark Barcer's Agnuts.
Wow. I remember my friend from Detroit came up to school with a Walkman, and man, he was the coolest.
It must have been crazy to be able to walk around with music like that.
It was. I remember I did work study for months to save up for a little Panasonic one. But it changed your life. Yes. It was amazing.
So this is our little frame narrative where he talks about, if you dare, you can read this comic. It'll be scary, though. And the inciting incident is this train conductor. It says, of all who lurk in the dark shadows, shunned by humanity, the most feared is the undead creature called the vampire. I know, for I am one of these. There are those among the living, too, who ply their trade in the twilight corners of the world. And often such men and women, by nature or necessity, seem not the least perturbed by tales of nameless nighttime terror. That's something I've found quite strange, since it is they who should dread them the most. The thing in the tunnels. So the conductor's been grabbed by this furry, clawed hand.
So it must be a vampire that can turn to wolf form as well?
Maybe. I don't want to spoil it, but he crashes the whole train.
You'd think you'd hear about that stuff.
I had returned to New York, to the home I share with my companions Deborah Dancer and Dmitri Mishkin after a long absence. My only desire had been to protect them from the vampiric curse I bore, but in leaving them I'd lost my one ongoing link with the living world, a lifeline that nourished my will to carry on my mission. He's kind of a self-pitying vampire. He's the hero.
That.
He's a vampire, but he doesn't victimize humans, and he's always on the hunt for other vampires, I guess. He's kind of like a Blade-like figure. I think he wants to fight other vampires. He himself is a vampire.
He's the Dexter.
But he's a good one.
A vampire.
Exactly.
Society.
He's got a skunk stripe in his hair. He's got the reverse Doctor Strange. It's all down the middle instead of on the side. So his friend here, this must be Dmitri Mishkin, points out that, hey, they're investigating this subway disaster. 8 dead, train man missing. And the disappearance was only one of several in recent days, so this has been an ongoing thing. He's like, I'm going to go check it out. It's probably vampires. They love crashing trains. Not a lot of people know that about them. We'll go with you. No, Deborah, this will only be reconnaissance. There's no need for you to join me. So he goes down to the subway here. I like that he's still wearing like his neckerchief or ascot.
Yeah, his ascot. He's fancy.
He's very formal in the subway. I like these transformation scenes.
Yeah.
The line had been shut down and the station cordoned off to keep away the morbidly curious, but neither ropes nor iron gates were any barrier to me. In the form of mist, I drifted past the wreckage and the huge track-clearing operation without delay, knowing that my quarry lay beyond. Mishkin may have been correct in his assumptions. It's cold and silent as the crypt in these tunnels, a place where most vampires would feel right at home. But how many vampires are left in the city now? Inoculation of the new cancer vaccine has made the blood of most people poisonous to my kind.
Oh, whoa.
I've been able to survive on my usual supply of bottled blood, but my questions were left unanswered. Unfinished and unanswered as I saw the path diverge before me. So there's, an ongoing plot.
Okay.
And we have read this snake one before, so though he's got a weird facial expression.
Yes, he is. He's
Looks like he's got some vampire fangs he's hiding. So an ongoing part of iVampire's story is, in this world they've created a vaccine for cancer, but coincidentally it also kills vampires who drink that blood. A light in that direction. Who else is down here? I wonder at what point does he say, I want to be mist now, or I'll be a bat?
Right.
It's like, just pick one. Quit showing off.
Well, I mean, if there was a breeze, he would move faster as mist.
If he wanted to eat some fruit hanging from a tree, he could become a bat. My bat wings sliced the air without a sound as I neared the slow-moving light source. I was prepared to meet whatever waited ahead, whether it proved to be friend or foe. And it turns out to be Maggie Carl, a reporter for the Daily Post. She's investigating the same train crash, so he becomes a vampire again right behind her and surprises her. And she's saying, I'm trying to figure out what killed the trainman and left his body a bloodless pulp. When I arrived, you were about to speculate that this was the work of the undead. And he says that, vampires usually don't treat the corpses that way. He says
they're not as
the
brutal.
condition of the corpse tells a different tale. A vampire seldom mauls his victims so. Then do you have an idea what did kill him? I'm afraid not, but I mean to find out. And considering the possible danger involved, I'd advise that you leave and let me face it alone. And miss out on getting this story before everyone else? Not in your life, Andy. That was your name, right, Andy? Andrew, actually, but call me what you like, Miss Carl. Make it Maggie. He doesn't like being called Andy. Maggie and I walked on through the seemingly endless subterranean world, finding no clue to the source of the train man's fate until... Shh, someone's coming. So this is like a SWAT team or a crew of security guards. They're not cops. Look at their jackets. They work for Barr Research Laboratories. And Barr is the company that developed this cancer vaccine. And he's starting to think, maybe they send their team to investigate this weird monster. Maybe there's some connection between the development of the vaccine and whatever's killing people here. Or maybe they purposely made the vaccine poisonous. It could be more than an accident, he speculates. And we see the furry hand grab Maggie here and start to pull her up. It's walking upside down. What in the world has got hold of her? I can hardly make it out in the darkness. Despite its bulk, the creature loped across the tunnel ceiling with incredible speed and agility. Without a doubt, it could have outraced a man. But I had stopped being a man 400 years earlier, so he becomes a bat. I really like the color around the bat.
Nice transition panel. Whoa!
So he's chasing him. As I swooped toward the beast, its vaguely human form and tattered clothing still disguised its true nature from me. But there was no time now to carefully size up my foe. If I wished to free Maggie and gain any answers at all this night, I would have to go on the attack. Clearly I had surprised and hurt the creature, but I feared that in rescuing poor Maggie Carl, I was only going to add to her terror.
Oh, yeah.
Stay well back, Maggie, but don't run off. You'd only be subjecting yourself to unknown risks. I'll stop this thing, whatever it is, though in a manner you may find somewhat disquieting. He's going to do the Lifesavers maze. It's a weird juxtaposition.
Quick, before I go.
I'm about to kill someone, but do this Lifesavers maze. So I originally thought with the furry hand, maybe it's a werewolf, too. Turns out it's a weird spider creature. If the young reporter gasped at the sight of my bared fangs, I do not know. For I could not have heard her over the sound of my own drawn breath as all at once my opponent stood revealed to me.
He's wouldn't
you?
Spider. Oh, yeah.
Its spiderish mandibles dripped a colorless ooze, and its eyes stared unblinkingly. Still, I continued to sense that it had once been human, though in its present state it mocked the very idea of humanity. The creature lunged with insane fury, and I halted its charge with my own vampiric strength, but then the unexpected suddenness. It bore down upon me with unexpected suddenness. I felt its fetid breath on my neck, and then I knew immediately that in biting me, the slavering thing had deposited its venom.
Oh.
And struggle as I might, I was slowly being overpowered. Though it kind of looks like he's lifting him. I guess he's buckling to his knees. That's what's happening.
Right,
yeah, he's
right.
biting his arm here. The slavering.
It looks like
thing.
he's hurt him. Like, you know.
Oh, he did. Well, that's a good thing why Maggie Carl's here. Yet there was one who, by wit or instinct, was able to accomplish what I had not. Whack! It's dead. I like the yellow. It's the only word bubble that gets that treatment. That was either some powerful swing or the creature had a very soft skull. I don't know. This is all a lot more than I bargained for. But I've come this far already, and I can't imagine it getting worse. In that case, you might be wise to let your imagination continue in its blissful ignorance, because I'm sure that worse awaits us in the hell that spawned this monstrosity. Its bracelet, I guess they give you a little commemorative bracelet. Bar Research Laboratories, even if that hell is man-made. Yeah, here's your shot, and here's your commemorative bracelet. It's made of solid gold. They're kind of a sloppy operation, Bar.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I don't understand. Bar Labs is a highly respected institution. How could they have created such a... Wait, that light behind us. Who? I like the lines for the light. The flashlight there. The security team we'd seen earlier, doubtless drawn back to the sounds of fighting, stood poised before us, weapons at the ready. And though their chief's words were spoken in the politest of tones, his meaning was unmistakable. All your questions will be answered, sir and ma'am, if you'll just come along with us. And I'd like to suggest that you do so without protest or sudden movements, since I'd really hate to be responsible for what might happen otherwise. To be continued.
What?
So yeah, our A story is I, Vampire, but we have like 2 more stories to go.
Ooh.
More horror themed. I actually enjoyed this one a little bit better than the first one. The first one's good, and I love the art and the colors, but this is like a self-contained story. Jenny, are you there? Jenny Peters had worked in the little diner on Highway 1 for 6 years. She would probably work there for the next 6 and the 6 after that. There wasn't much else to do in Harpersville, Illinois, population 267. She knew every trucker by name, all of their wives, and some of their mistresses. That's what Harpersville, Illinois, population 267 was, an overgrown truck stop. Jenny neither liked it nor hated it. She lived it.
That's Harpersville.
Harpersville, Illinois?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
like
name.
your Harper.
Yeah. Cool.
She had just shown the new girl, Susie, how to stack dinner dishes that afternoon when Mr. Hinkle came in promptly at 1 o'clock, just as he always did.
He looks undead.
Who is that, Jenny? He looks like death warmed over. Yeah, you're thinking great minds think alike, I guess. That's old Mr. Hinkle. You'd better leave him to me. He comes in every day at exactly 1 o'clock. He never says anything except, "Give me a glass of water," and he never leaves a tip. What does he eat? That's just it, nothing.
Isn't there a Hinkles in Madison?
That's probably the same guy.
Ooh.
He moved on from Harpersville. He's stalking you. He's getting all the Harpers. Jenny shivered involuntarily as she approached Old Man Hinkle. He was a living skeleton, eyes dull and listless, skin stretched like dried parchment over his bones, dowdy, faded dress suit, with the old-fashioned string tie hanging loosely about the pasty turkey neck. And the smell, whatever that cheap cologne was, he must have used gallons of it. Jenny held her breath. "May I take your order?" "Give me a glass of water." Jenny nodded, moved to the sink, and returned with his glass. She sat it down before the emaciated visage on the stool and winked at Susie across the room. "Anything else, Sue? Anything else, sir?" "Nope." So they, time goes on, and they've kind of forgot about it, but he does keep returning at 1 o'clock for his glass of water, and I guess Jenny becomes more accustomed to it and kind of shrugs it off. But they do speculate, because she sees him pour something in the water one time. Eventually she sees, what is he doing with the water? He's got like a little bottle. He puts the stopper back in and puts it back in his coat, and he drinks. And so then they start to gossip about, what do you think he's putting in there?
Don't steal it.
It's some kind of drug. The old guy's a dope fiend. Nah, it's a pint of vodka. Ain't you ever heard of vodka and water? Good for the heart. What do you think, Joe? Ask me, it's some kind of medicine. The old coot needs something to keep them spindly legs moving. Ha! I wonder.
Why would you even wonder?
Wouldn't you be curious? There's nothing else going on in Harpersville, population 267.
I might wonder, but I've seen movies.
So she becomes obsessed with it. She's dreaming about it. She talks to her friend Steve. Hey, why the long face? It's Mama, Jenny. She's got cancer. She's dying. Maybe that's her brother, actually. No, they did all they could. Doc Ramsey gives her a month, maybe 2. There must be a cure. Jen, it's hopeless. Call her, huh? She's real scared. There must be a cure. So she starts to think, maybe what they say about it being medicine is true. And she's like, I've got to figure out what that stuff is if it could help my mom and her cancer. Second time cancer in curing it has come up in this. She gets some of that from the Bar Corporation.
I can handle it if she's a spider.
So let's see. What if it is some kind of super drug like you said? Huh? The stuff he puts in his drink. Yeah? What if he's being used as a guinea pig by the government to test a new wonder serum or something? Gosh, you think so? It might cure cancer. It might save Mother. Oh, Jenny. So she's trying to bide her time. She knows that if she asks him, he's going to be all secretive about it.
Oh, yeah. He's
or
a
maybe
grouch.
he'll stop coming back. So she's trying to find her moment to discover what this is. And she's told, this guy says, I have a friend at Farmland Chemicals. I can have a sample of it analyzed. You've got to get it away from him, Jenny. So she's waiting for her moment. And one day, wouldn't you know it, he leaves it on the counter. And when he goes to the bathroom, I guess, he's got to use the bathroom. And she takes a salt shaker and starts to pour some in. But he catches her and says, don't ever touch that. Terrified, Jenny dropped the bottle. With amazing swiftness, Hinkle caught it, grabbed the cork, and hurried from the diner. Did you get any? Some of it splashed on the counter. Help me scoop it up. And he's saying, I don't think it's enough to analyze, but I'll do my best. After Steve left, oh, Susie, what if it's not enough? Old Hinkle will probably never come back here again. I've got to find him. Jenny, look. And so they see Hinkle driving away in this old pickup. Jenny ran to her new Chevy, jumped in, and sprayed gravel across the parking lot as she followed Hinkle out into the highway. An hour later, they were in some little town she had never seen or heard of. It was pitch dark. Jenny was scared. She didn't like the idea of being out in the middle of nowhere, chasing some creepy old man by herself. Hinkle pulled up to a decrepit hotel in a seedy section of town, crossed to an alley beside the building, and climbed up the long wooden staircase to the second floor. Lord, is that his home? Hard in her throat, Jenny followed. At the top of the stairs, she reached for the rusted brass knob. To her horror, it pushed open suddenly, nearly knocking her off the railing. Gasp! Old Hinkle hobbled out and down the stairs. Again, quick as a cat, Jenny darted through the door. The room was a shambles. Everywhere there were broken furniture, decayed walls, and a thick layer of dust coating the tattered drapes and soiled bed. Jenny gagged. My God, it's like a morgue. Gingerly, she picked her way through the clutter and approached something in one dark webbed corner. Boxes, dozens of them, and they all say, Kingsley's Drugs. Maybe this is it.
How is it like a morgue?
Kingsley's Drugs.
It doesn't mention bodies.
Well, it's stinky. No, you'll find out, actually. It says, Jenny pulled back a lid, reached inside, Manpower cologne, 10 boxes of it. What in the world? Then across the moonlit room, another stack of boxes caught her eye. Jenny picked her way across the gloom, stirring up clouds of dust. Drawing out one of the little bottles, she held it up to the dirt-layered window. Feeble moonlight played across its blank amber surface. Eureka, I found it. She turned toward the door, her foot twisted on the lumpy rug, and she fell, hands splayed before her with a crash. An ancient telephone toppled down beside her. Jenny reaches for it and dials Steve's number. Steve, I've got it. Jenny, where have you been? I'm at Hinkle's place. I've got one of the bottles. He keeps boxes of them here. You wouldn't believe this place. Jenny, get out of there. From outside, the sound of hollow footsteps on the wooden stairs. What? The liquid. We've already tested it. The brass knob turned. The door creaked open. The sickening sweet reek of men's cologne swept into the room. The liquid, Jenny. It's embalming fluid, so maybe that's why it's like a morgue. Twin rows of sharp, yellowed teeth gleamed Dimly, in a ghastly smile, dead claw-like hands reached for her. There was a single terrified shriek in the little room. Jenny, do you hear me? Jenny! Jenny, are you there? That's the end of Jenny. I love the font on Kane's.
8675309. Oh my gosh.
And we do actually have one more mini story. This is a jam-packed issue. You get your money's worth with the House of Mystery.
Yeah,
House
you
of
do.
Mystery. So this is the Suicide Club. You've heard of the Suicide Squad. This is Suicide Club. Kane is introducing us to this closely guarded mansion where a secret society meets each month. I welcome you both to your first visit. We're so glad you accepted us. A Suicide Club, what a marvelous, decadent game. Ah, but a serious game. The pact must be honored, win or lose. Well, the fee is no joke, $10,000. Lucky for us. With my inheritance, that's no problem. I recognize some of these people. That man's a famous actor. And that woman, we have many famous members. That is why discretion is crucial. And one reason we do a background check on all applicants. So essentially, the Suicide Club is a card game. All these powerful and famous people keep playing the game until they lose. Charles, the draw is against you. So it is. Some of our members stay with us for years, while others, pardon me a moment. You were one of our best players, Charles. A pity to lose you. It's been a good game these years. Better to go this way than suffer the indignity of old age. That little man, he's soaking wet. Yes, drenched in gasoline. They're on a closed-circuit TV. He's got a match. He's not really going to. Whoosh. They really did suggest some grisly stuff in this comic.
Yeah, they
without
did.
fully depicting it, but that's pretty intense for a kid's comic.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, no. Magnificent, Charles. Now your turn to play. So the new guy plays and he loses immediately. And they say, well, you can do cyanide capsules, a pistol, a dagger, or you might want to come up with your own creative way. That's what the coolest people do. Come up with your own way of killing yourself. And so they're like, fuck that. And they leave and they're running away. It's useless to run. The suicide pact must be kept. It doesn't look like we're being followed. Look out! They spring some spikes on them. They're like, those were put there to kill us. But how could they know? Oh no, the background check. They know everything about us.
Oh,
so I guess the background check knew that their tires are poppable with with nails. We learned that they drive what they call an automobile. So they make it back to their house and they're like, look, if we invite all our friends over, they're not going to kill us in front of strangers, in front of their friends.
Oh, no.
Minutes
no.
crawl by as they wait, and then I hung up and raced right over. Jason, thank God. Soon the others will be here and we'll be safe. Safe? From the Suicide Club, they're everywhere. We thought it was a game, but if you lose, they murder you. Only those who try to back out. Huh? He pushes them over the edge. Oh, one more thing. It still has to look like a suicide. So they made it look like they jumped from their balcony and died.
You know, that you could do a movie based on that story.
You could do like a 3-part movie. Like a, what is
just on that.
Creep Show or something with the different
yeah.
horror. I guess that was based more on EC Comics. But yeah, it has that structure to it. I kind of like the self-contained ones, even though that one's, like 4 pages long.
I know, but it's
very interesting.
intense.
You could really draw out the premise. And
that's what I mean,
and all the characters that are at the first meeting and stuff. And yeah, it's got an interesting... It seems like reminiscent of a movie I've seen, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah.
So we got a way newer comic. We're going to go from, what was it, 1983?
To 1997.
1997.
We've
the
got
Superman Revenge Squad.
The Revenge Squad in Action Comics.
Action Comics 730. Gosh, it's a lot of issues.
Crazy. And the
relic, that's spooky looking.
Everything is so bright and vivid.
I know this paper stock is smooth and shiny.
Yeah. So we open up and you, our leader, give me a break. You couldn't lead a fly to a cow patty. Watch your mouth, riot. Someone's got to lead this group on our mission. And since I'm the strongest, we're not talking about smell barrage. Shut up.
He's got a weird tube arm.
Yeah. So he smacks him and Barrage's punch split Riot. That could confuse him enough for me to take over.
Oh, it split him into 2 people?
Mm-hmm. Wow. And yeah, you'll see. Geez, Anomaly, did touching that girder turn your brain to steel too? She's a punk. I can't stand her.
Is that Enchantress?
No.
Or no, that's a Marvel character.
And time to vote, Barrage. And you lose. Yeah, he's losing it. Losing it. That's enough. And the President of the United Hates.
Written by David Michelinie, and it's drawn by two people, Tom Grummett and Dennis Roediger. I wonder if that's cover and interior, or if they switch off in the interior.
Nice ink work, too. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah.
This is a nice panel. So
That's a cool crop. Like, mostly a splash page, but you got that weird little, right before the
This guy's hair is creepier than heck.
Yeah.
Man.
Business on the top, party in the back.
He's all party.
Skull it.
And that was a cheap shot Maxima. One you're gonna pay for. Oh, Polly, you're so cute when you're ticked off.
What is
what,
that?
Misa?
Buckaroo Banzai?
I
Is that the
know.
character? He
No.
kind of looks like that.
But she turns him into a bunny, and he's like, oh, but this is so embarrassing. It's humiliating. She's like, I know, tee. And then, all right, children.
What a weird ad.
Oh, yeah.
So Jump, I guess. These are all. Poor Terry Mills can only do 10 inches. Sean Kemp, 49. You?
So then we have this mysterious voice.
It's weird to see photorealistic, like photography-based ads in comics compared to the drawings that you'd normally see in the older ones.
Yeah, and all the ads for food instead of,
video games and movies.
And so we have this mysterious figure. We've work to do, and to facilitate matters, I'm assigning Maxima to be your leader in the field. She's had the most personal experience with your target, though not as personal as she'd prefer. She wants him. Whereas Barrage merely wants to be rid of the major obstacle in his revenge against Maggie Sawyer. Riot wants to continue to sow confusion unopposed. Anomaly wants a big paycheck. And Misa, well, as the song goes, girls just want to have fun. And what's wrong with that?
He's got headphones on.
Yeah, so he starts
the teeny bopper villain.
Getting the plan together. And in the past, each of you fought your common foe alone and lost. Try again, you'll lose again. But together, you have power over your enemy. You have power your enemy can never have. Teamwork. You must use that power. Bolster each other's weaknesses. Augment each other's strengths. That will give you the edge you need to, at last, defeat Superman.
Scud.
So their common foe is Superman. And he's headed back to work in the bliss of having married Lois, thinking, geez, I can't believe we're married. And I was so close to just letting her go. So he happily returns back to the newspaper. And
Daily Planet.
You know, the guy looks like Superman, for crying out loud. So
yeah, it looks very Adventures of Lois and Clark era.
Yes.
Inspired by that. Dean Cain, is that who that is?
Yes. So sorry I'm late, Allie. Long night. Get used to it, Mr. Kent. He has all these proposals for a new addition to the paper that they're doing. And he's got like 100 proposals from everyone in the paper. And they start showing up, and he hasn't touched any of them. Then they start showing them up at the door, and he's like, say, Clark, we're going to use my ideas of alternative music reviews? He's like, of course not, Compton. That would clash with my suggestion for a guide to wholesale entertainment, or wholesome entertainment. And then this guy is, come on, Tom, what the supplement cries for is a market summary for investors. And this guy is like, hey, Mr. K, you going to use my sports preview idea? And they're all disgruntled.
He wants to do Lollapalooza updates. It's a weird real-world reference.
And she's like, Midge suggested a fashion report. And Clark is just taking it, and he's like, people, would you give me a minute alone, please? And so they're outside.
Some garish design.
Oh, look at his
my
face.
God. That's like a
this is
early
awful.
internet ransom note or something.
Yes, it is.
It's
That's
weird
awful.
looking. So many different types of fonts. They're like, let's use every font on our computer. to use this as an example of bad graphic design
Yes,
for that
you
unit
do.
in my class.
Yes, you do.
Jeez. Anyway.
So they're outside just kind of bickering with each other, and Clark's inside. This newspaper is and always has been a team effort. So he goes out there and, this is him going out there saying it's always been a team effort and we've always been able to count on it. People working together. We've heard this
Teamwork.
previously.
Just like the villains believe in teamwork.
So they're like, after he goes back in his office to look them over, he goes,
He's got
well,
an
I
iced tea hat
suppose
on.
a sidebar in the Sunday supplement would give investors time to plan. And how do you define wholesome, Dirk? Maybe there's a middle ground we can both stand on. So they're starting to work. And then over here we have, well, maybe Perry knew what he was doing when he chose Kent as his substitute, after all. So Clark has more responsibilities at work. He's married now.
He's a super boss.
He is a super boss.
Super middle
He's the
management.
world's superest boss. And so better get to it. I'll just take a quick look around the city first, make sure there's nothing I need to deal with before nuts. So he sees someone we recognize here attacking an army
I do
base.
not remember this. I would have been 10 when this came out. This must be something I got at Taurus
Oh, yeah.
Comics. I do not remember this one at all.
So he says, hey, I got to go out. Make sure nobody comes in here and bothers me while I look at these.
You can't even put them in a neat order on your
I
desk. It's supposed to
know.
be a giant clump.
And he could do it so quickly, you know?
Yeah. Nobody would even catch it.
Anyway, so he responds to the attack on the army base. He's like, cease fire. He's under the munitions room. A stray bullet could blow this whole complex sky high. Pull your men back, officer. I'll handle this. Last time, anomaly dissipated when I hit him with my heat vision. Come on, hero, give it your best shot. So he hits him. He's got to play physical this time with him. I like this. Thwack. Thwack.
Oh, wow. Look at those graphics.
Ooh, man.
Sega Genesis. That's what I had. Sonic 3D Blast.
I didn't even recognize Sonic.
And Vector? No, can't. Yeah, it's Vector Man 2.
Dang.
The font.
So he gets him down, and then he's like, hey, what's going to happen if I touch this flamethrower?
So he's got kind of an absorbing man thing going on, something like that.
So he gets a fire going, and Superman's like, well, I can fly around and form this, by air pressure, pull him out of the building to say, so things won't.
He's creating a vortex.
A vortex.
A flaming vortex.
Hey, am I the flaming vortex?
I bet the Flash taught him that one.
Oh, yeah. One that should suck Anomaly's flame form right out of the building with me. Worked. Even better than I expected. The vacuum caused Anomaly to pass out. So he catches him as he goes to turn into his human form when he gets...
Shavak.
Interesting.
That's an interesting onomatopoeia.
Yeah. He gets hit from all sides. I love that drawing.
Oh, yeah, that was when they rebooted Johnny Quest
Yeah.
for Cartoon Network, I think. Gosh.
Yeah. So our ambush worked. Big Blue always moves battles away from civilians, so Anomaly's armory attack suckered him into the junkyard. Just like we figured. 4 of you, 5, with Maxima coming in. And he gets pushed right into the junkyard. And she lifts him up. So I'm not as familiar with her powers, but they seem to have just as many powers as Superman. She's lifting him up out of the ground who said you could have all the laughs, and she puts a gravity field onto her, pulling her down into the ground. And Superman, he's recovered, flying off. No fair! Riot divides when struck. But if I hit hard enough, maybe he'll split into 2 unconscious riots. Spabam!
Spabam.
How? Force is evenly dispersed among all of us, Superman. Or
Stupid man.
But then
Sick
impact
burn.
was plenty to knock out 2 of you. Who said there are only 2?
Oh, wow.
Dozens of riots, maybe hundreds.
That's a cool idea that it disperses it evenly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not familiar with Riot. That's kind of a cool character.
So if you had enough of riots, he could even be hit by the Hulk. That's great. Hey, that could be one of those infinite loops. Hulk could hit him, which would make more of him, and oh my gosh.
Could have a whole planet made of riots.
Yeah. And okay, so and these army guys are pulling up. They're like, "Hey, Noah, look, Superman! I never seen the big guy in person before. This is awesome. Harry, watch the road!" Gasp. So they get knocked over and gotta touch this wreck, turn to steel so I can help. And he's like, "Huh? Money! I'm in. I'm helping myself." So he's into the money. And Special Crimes Unit, that's Maggie Sawyer's outfit, who he has a grudge against. So he's taking that on. And Maxima's like, no one messes with Maxima, you giggling imp. No one. So she's going after him. And this guy's like, sigh, I was afraid of this. Psycap should let me project my thoughts into Maxima's mind.
It's like Professor X and Cerebro.
And perhaps
so another thing about the X-Men, I was talking about how reading the first few X-Men, the Cerebro makes an appearance in the first few issues. It's a little different than the modern depiction of it, but yeah, even that aspect of X-Men was part of the first go. Anyway.
And this is just what I said would happen. So he's explaining, as you guys are fighting and into your own interest, Superman's going to get away and you're going to lose again. And so she takes this car and throws it into the water. He
hits a boat.
Hits a boat. Superman's like, screams, that ferry boat's sinking. People will drown unless I save them. Anomaly. Think how much loot you can score without Superman to stop you. We all want Superman down and done for, and together we can succeed. I have a plan. And, Barrage. Think how easy revenge will be with Superman out of the way. So she's convincing everybody it's within your best interest to work together. So he's lifting the last of the people off the ferry, and he's like, they're attacking me. Their eyes blank. Maxima's controlling them mentally, turning them into human weapons. So he flies up because he doesn't want to hurt anybody. When this lady grabs on, he goes, no, that old woman hung on, but she's lost her grip. So he goes to save her. And boy, I thought my parents were gullible. I beg your...
Such an evil facial expression. We have an Arnold movie. It's weird to see a pay-per-view ad.
Oh, in a wow, book. Yeah.
So she shatters something on his chest,
it's Misa, and it's this ooze. That techno rap is a solar leech. It sucks up sun energy.
Oh, wow.
Like the kind that gives you your powers. Clinging slime is draining my energy, keeping me from absorbing more sunlight. I'm growing weak as a kitten. Always weak as a kitten. Specifically a tailless, cute little kitten.
A bobtail kitten.
I'm getting pretty darn tired of this. He's lost it. He comes in and whacks him with a pipe.
And what is this guy contributing? He comes in at the last minute. I'm helping too.
Yup. And this is all for the times you spurned me. So she's been spurned by him. How do you like pain? Try to impress the planet staff with how effective teamwork can be, but if the concept is powerful for good, it can also be powerful for evil. Maybe even more powerful than Superman. Team Up Terror concludes in Man of Steel number 65 next week.
So they get you buying more than just the monthly Action Comics. It's an ongoing plot in each of the monthly.
These are nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we saw, when we went to California last week, we saw a Cybertruck, and it kind of looks like Polygon. Like, I was like, is that a car from a PlayStation video game, or is this real life? A Gap commercial? Weird. Gap Kids.
Oh, yeah.
Mom, can I get a turtleneck from Gap Kids? That's a fleece, son. Weird. But, it shows how the nature of the medium changed so much just in the advertisements.
Yes.
Not to mention the paper stock and the rendering of the color is so different. But
oh yeah,
gosh, 97, 83.
Wow.
So I was 10. I was -4. But
wow.
Do you remember this iVampire from when you were a kid?
I remember reading the Mystery Presents.
Is this something you would have bought, or is this from
my
your
mom?
Okay.
Yeah, definitely my mom. And actually, my whole family were into comic books. So my uncles would buy them. That's what
Oh
my
yeah,
uncles read them to
Sally
me when they
and
babysat me.
Bob and Sally, right?
Bob and Sally,
read
they had
comics
a
at their store, right?
Yeah, they had a
So I remember
comics
she liked
display at the
Rogue.
store.
Rogue and Gambit.
And
I
she
like
gave
Rogue
us
and
our
Gambit.
couple of our special covers.
Oh yeah.
Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do that one soon. That's a great cover, the shiny
Yeah.
one. All right, well, if you enjoyed this, please give us a like and shoot us a comment and subscribe to our channel. We'd really appreciate it, and thanks for watching.